G'day there guys, Connor here again, hope you're all having a fantastic day. Anyway, we're back with some more stories from Reddit. As always, if you enjoy these videos, be sure to hit like and subscribe and all that stuff, and let's get straight to the stories. Okie dokie, we're on relationships. This one was written by user ExileProofRock, and it's titled, My girlfriend of 7 months wants to quit her job because I won a significant amount of money in the lottery. My girlfriend and I have had a pretty tumultuous relationship, which has seen us broken up twice already. I've been the initiator of the split both times, always because of her extreme, unrelenting clinginess and lack of trust. We don't live with each other, obviously. Why we're still together is a bit of a mystery to me. I love her for sure, and we can get along well together, but we also have very different ideas of what constitutes an acceptable amount of personal space and privacy. When I try to tell her that she is smothering me, she basically shrugs and says she isn't changing. The past 2 months we've had a slight shelter from our usual storms, and it hasn't been as bad. She's still very clingy and constantly accuses me of chatting and meeting other girls. I haven't. Keeps close tabs on what I'm doing or who I'm hanging out with, etc., etc. But I keep at it because I believe I'd be alone for a long time without her, and am frankly afraid of that. It doesn't help that she's also told me much the same, that I would be alone without her. Cut to a few weeks ago. I won a lot of money in a lottery, paid in lump sum. It's all very new to me and very, very surreal, and I haven't really done much with it all yet, but talked to some financial advisors to figure it all out. But it's readily acknowledged I'm in a position to retire. The only 2 things I've done so far is take a month off from work to sort through things and get very drunk on expensive scotch with my sister. I have a lot of friends right now. I know who my friends are and plan on doing nice things for them all. However, my girlfriend is now asking me if she can quit her job. When I asked her why she would, she said because I have money, that if she'd won that much money, she'd have given me X amount of money without a thought, because that's what people do for those they love. Anyways, it didn't take long for her to start accusing me of wanting to ditch her now that I'm rich, and how she was so stupid not to have seen it before, all because I don't want to give her a crap load of money. I'm in an awkward position now. What am I to do? I'm not a stingy or shallow person, but this relationship was rocky before all of this. I'm afraid of looking shallow, I guess, even though I believe I'm being practical. And while I'm not necessarily clamoring for us to split right now, I feel like this will be an issue as long as we're together. Sorry for rambling. Hope that makes sense. What? No way. I wouldn't care what she wants to accuse me of. Sounds like they should have stayed split up the first time they broke up. Let's go to the comments. It's been 7 months and you've broken up twice already. Dump and run. He replies, the argument is, I think she's overly smothering and she thinks I'm afraid of intimacy, so sometimes I second guess my rationale. But she's certainly very keen on knowing everything I do. Like if she sees I'm online and it's not writing a lovely email to her, it's an argument all night. I realize it sounds cut and dry, but she does have her good qualities. Another commenter says, you've yet to mention any. Reread what you've wrote and ask yourself, based on only what was written, what your advice to a different person who wrote that would be. Nope, nope, nope. You have this windfall and suddenly she thinks she's on easy street and never has to work again. F that. You have much bigger fish to fry than your dating life. You need to talk to a financial consultant and find a way to make this money last so that you don't end up yet another cautionary tale. You need to learn to be appropriately selfish in a big way. And most likely you're going to have to end your relationships with a lot of people. Otherwise you're going to be expected to pay for pretty much everything and shamed when you don't. Don't mess around with this. It could be the greatest or worst thing that's ever happened to you. OP replies, you hit the nail on the head. I do feel ashamed of thinking selfishly, and I think I worry about being perceived as such. It's amazing how much some people have opened up to me the past weeks. She is your girlfriend, not your fiancé or your wife. She has no right to quit her job and rely on you to support her. She's fully taking advantage of the situation and is probably attempting to make you feel guilty by pulling the, if you break up with me, it's because you're rich now. Who cares if you look shallow? She shouldn't assume that just because you happen to win a large amount of money, that she's entitled to any life-altering benefits from it. I would sit her down and explain why exactly you're breaking up with her, and explain why it has nothing to do with the newfound fortune. If she still accuses you of it being because of the money, you'll know she's just trying to emotionally manipulate you. OP replies, extremely well said. Quote, who cares if you look shallow? Well, this seems to be my problem. She just texted me a while ago saying she accepted my quirks before I won the money, and few ever did so before. I've only had 2 relationships, so to ditch her now proves money will change me. I feel guilty. Another commenter adds, "This so reminds me of when I finally told my abusive ex-wife I was leaving, and she said, 'I'm the only person who would put up with your bullcrap.' I feel guilty, which I'm sure is her intention. This is manipulative as hell. If you didn't think you had a reason to leave before, you do now." Opie gives an edit. "Thank you all for taking the time to respond. I think I'm taking my anxiety with the whole situation in general and applying it to a relationship that was on wobbly legs already. I'm afraid of having to make tough, selfish decisions with a lot of out-of-the-woodwork people, but this is clearly a no-brainer. The decision was essentially made before my win even. Thanks again for your input and advice." Now for an update, 3 weeks later. A few people have messaged me asking for an update on this situation. In a word, nightmare. Suffice to say, she was not happy when I told her that she needs to forget about the money for now, and that we have serious problems in our relationship from before the win that we kept sweeping aside, and all of this has done is force us to have a conversation we needed to have anyways. It got heated pretty quickly, and I felt like we kept digressing into petty arguments about old stuff instead of sticking to the main issue. She suddenly took to calling me manipulative and emotionally abusive, which took me completely off guard and had me scrambling to defend myself before it occurred to me that she was just trying to make me feel guilty again. After probably 4 or 5 hours of getting nowhere, I finally said that we are breaking up and there's nothing more to it. She got up from the couch, got her stuff, told me to go to frickin' hell, and slammed the door. The next day, the texts and emails started to come in, saying that no one will love me like she did, how it's sad to see how money has changed me so quickly, hoping I have fun banging superficial escorts, on and on and on. I ignore the messages. The next day she calls and I ignore the call, and she goes to voicemail and says she is crying, and says she needs my help and has no one else to turn to and to please call her. I don't call her back. Thursday night, around 11:30 p.m, the police are knocking at my door. Apparently a neighbour called in a loud domestic dispute from my apartment. I tell him I've been alone all night. He asks to take a look around and I say sure. He says the neighbour who called is not answering their door nor their phone and asks if I recognise the last 4 digits of a number, which I don't, so he asks if I know of any reason why someone would call the police making such a claim. I tell him I did recently break up with a girlfriend on the weekend and we did yell, so either someone took their time to call or my ex is not taking things well. We both agree it is strange. I decide not to ask her about it. Over the weekend, I get a few emails and texts and calls from her that start off sweet and nostalgic and end up angry and accusing me of throwing her to the side and being heartless, among other things. From the voicemails, I can tell she's drunk. I can't resist, so I ask her by email if she knew anything about the prank call to the police, which of course she denies, and then spins it back on me. Do I really think her to be so petty? Why would I ever think that? It just proves I never trusted her. Back to arguing, so I don't reply. So yesterday, I log onto Facebook for the first time in a while, and I notice over the past few days she's been adding my friends as friends. Nothing else, but it freaks me out. I send her a message asking why she's adding my friends, and she essentially says it's a free country, and that she couldn't have been so bad if my friends like her too. All to say, I'm wary, and I'm depressed and lonely, and I have a feeling this is going to be a pain in the ass. Objectively, I know this was a good move, but subjectively it's a whole other matter. Look forward to normal times. Sorry again for the rant. Wow, this girl's an absolute battle axe. Some final comments. No one will love me like she did. Here's hoping, right? You should message your friends though and say that your ex is sending the cops to your house and such, so they should watch out if she friends them out of nowhere. Opie says, I've locked my Facebook privacy settings down and emailed some friends. My closest friends and family are well in the know, already of course. Cut all ties, burn the bridges, block numbers, block on Facebook, document harassment. Opie says, don't think I'd need to block her number, but you're likely right. Nah, you need to. Every single option for communication with you is an open door to her. She's going to try them all one by one until she finds an open one. She's like a raptor, systematically checking the electric fence for weaknesses so she knows where to attack, is what I'm saying. So do the right thing, and turn the entire fence on so she can't get in no matter what. Yeah, good advice. And stories like this one are why people who win the lottery often don't tell people they've won it, and you can definitely understand why. Anyway guys, as always, what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, we're going to leave that there and moving on to the next story. Okay, well, on relationship advice, this one was written by a throwaway account, and it's titled, I just found out my husband saw his ex-girlfriend the night before he proposed to me. Is there any chance this is a completely innocent situation? I've sort of been going through it this week, and everyone in my life is telling me different things, so I thought I'd come on here and ask you guys. So my husband and I got married 3 months ago. We've been together for 3 years, and now I just feel like everything has gone down the drain. We got into a fight a week ago over practically nothing. It was a stupid fight. We were both really stressed all day because of a personal issue, and it sort of just compounded right before we went to bed, and we just started yelling at each other. As we were fighting, my husband just sort of yelled that his ex was right, and he shouldn't have rushed into marriage. I stopped dead in my tracks. It felt like a bucket of cold water had just been poured on top of me. He immediately stopped talking. It was so silent. My body was shaking. I ran out of the room and locked myself in the spare bedroom for the night. The next morning I found him in the kitchen and he looked like he hadn't slept a wink. I felt bad momentarily until I remembered what he said. He ended up confessing that the night before he proposed to me, he had gotten a text from his ex-girlfriend saying she needed to talk to him. He showed me his phone, and there the text was. Her asking, practically begging to see him and him agreeing. He explained that she'd just been broken up with. Apparently this guy was horrible to her, and she thought that my husband would be the only person to understand. And they'd gotten to talking, and he'd told her he was going to propose to me tomorrow, to which apparently she began asking questions about me, about our relationship, stuff he just began willingly divulging, and then she told him that he was rushing into marriage. According to him, although I have no way to validate any of this, he got up and left and hasn't talked to her since. He reassured me that last night he was just stressed, he didn't mean it, and that there's not a day that goes by that he doesn't feel like the luckiest man in the world. He was crying, begging me not to leave him. Things have been tense ever since then. He seems to be overcompensating, or at least he's overdoing it because he feels like that's what I want. I don't know what I want. I don't even know how to begin to process this. Whew, not a good look, is it? Let's go straight to the comments. I'm curious, did he ever apologize for not telling you sooner that he went to see her? She says, he apologized after he told me everything that happened, not specifically that he didn't tell me sooner. He just sort of kept apologizing for going to see her over and over again. He also apologized specifically that he threw it back in my face the night prior. I think he sort of was inferring to the whole situation in a way, but he didn't specifically say the words that I'm sorry for not telling you sooner. I'm not sure if it matters, but yeah. Does it matter to you that he didn't tell you about it sooner? Yes, it does. We've been married for 3 months, and we got engaged 2 months before that. 5 months feels like a long time to me to keep this hidden. When I said I'm not sure that it matters, I'm more saying that I'm not sure if the exact wording he used matters, not that I don't care that he didn't tell me sooner. That's an unringable bell. It's not even so much that he saw her and didn't say anything. For me, that could have been fine. It's that he's clearly been hearing her words in his head the entire time you've been married. He went into your marriage with doubt and didn't think you two, supposedly a partnership, should even get to have a conversation about that. That's the deal breaker for me. How can anyone get past this type of betrayal? When he yelled that at you about her and that he agreed that he should never have married you, it would have been the end for me. He told you he regrets marrying you. How can that not always be in the back of your mind going forward? I think you two would benefit from couples therapy. He lashed out in anger to hurt you. I understand he immediately regretted it, but he also ended up exposing a lie he hid. He broke your trust seeing her and not mentioning it to you. Did he have a last fling with her? I'd have more questions I'd want answers to. He owes you a genuine apology and changed behavior. Okay, straight to an update, 4 days later. Okay, so I just want to say first that I'm appreciative of everyone for giving me solid advice, or at least the people who tried to. It's been an interesting couple of days, but things are looking up. He's been sleeping in the spare room since the argument, but we've had a couple conversations and have come to a conclusion. We have a counselling session booked in for next week, and until then we've decided to keep our distance, as in separate bedrooms. Thank you to everyone who recommended counselling. For some reason my brain completely forgot that was an option. I want to give him time before we go to our first appointment to really think about what he wants. He kept saying that he didn't mean what he said, but I need to be sure of that before proceeding. If, on the off chance, he truly believes what his ex said, then I need him to come to that conclusion himself, because I don't think I could take it if I knew he was staying with me because of pride and not because he loves me. We're going on a date tomorrow night. He's taking me to the restaurant we went to on our first date, and he seemed excited when he told me, so I guess that's good. I am excited to have some normalcy return to our marriage, so I hope that maybe it's a turning point. As for his ex, to give some context I didn't give in the last post, my husband met her at a bar, not at her apartment or a hotel room. Apparently she looked distraught, or at least like she'd been in a bad situation for a while. And I do empathise. I don't want any woman to be in a relationship that's abusive or emotionally draining. I do believe that my husband didn't cheat on me, and I know many of you might think I'm being naive about it, but I know my husband, or at least I think I do. I asked him why he said it if he didn't mean it, and he said he's not sure, which is concerning to me. So I hope he can figure it out in time for the counselling session and we can unpack it. I love my husband and I know he loves me, so while my anxiety is through the roof right now, I hope we can sort this out, because I can't imagine a world where he and I aren't together. Plenty to work on, that's for sure. Do you see this relationship working out in the end? Let me know in the comments. Let's read some final ones here. Even with this framing, I don't know if that makes it worse. You say that she was heartbroken and distraught from her previous relationship, and your husband thought it was appropriate to not only reveal that he went to see her before your engagement, but also used that distress as an information weapon against you as a means to hurt you and your feelings. Is he the one taking the steps to set up counselling? Is he the one doing the work to rebuild trust here? It's good that you're being conscious. Keep doing that and being realistic. I understand not wanting to walk out because of this. You've put 3 years into this relationship. You're married and your lives are entwined in so many ways. People here will judge you for fighting for this, but it's completely understandable that you want to. What I want you not to forget is how you felt when he said those words. I don't want you to forget how you felt that entire night, locked in that room. I don't want you to forget the anxiety you're feeling right now. And I don't want you to forget that your husband deliberately said one of the most hurtful things you could say to a partner when having a stupid fight about nothing. He could have said anything, and he went far below the belt. If those are the verbal punches he throws when you're fighting about nothing of consequence, what is he going to say when you're fighting for something of very real consequence? I'm pretty sure I know exactly why he said it. He was mad and he wanted to hurt your feelings, and that was the best ammunition he had to do it. When you do the counselling, if you guys decide that you do want to work through this and fix the relationship, healthy communication is going to need to be a huge focal point. He needs to learn how to talk through a disagreement without taking shots at you. People in relationships usually have disagreements now and again. That's not unusual. I heard someone say once, "We don't talk about divorce. It's not a door we open because we are focused on growing and working through problems. The first step towards divorce is considering it as an option to solve the problem." This is a similar vibe to me. Don't talk about regretting getting married as a reaction to a fight. Obviously, there are good reasons to get divorced, not saying it shouldn't ever be on the table. This bodes well for their 3-month-old marriage. Not much of an update. They're maybe going to counselling, maybe about to go on a date. We'll never know. Story ends in the same situation it started in. Honestly, I could easily get past he met his ex at a bar because he seemingly didn't trash talk the relationship to his ex, but the fact that he had her comment in the back of his mind for months and then weaponized it in an argument, that's what I would have a hard time getting over. It's been 3 months. That's still the honeymoon period. Why is he even thinking about that comment? Yeah, I think Reddit was 100% overreacting about meeting the ex and not focusing on the actual issue here, that is, that he said something incredibly hurtful to her, presumably to hurt her, and that what he said pretty much boils down to, "I'd be better off if I hadn't married you." I think couples counselling is 100% the way to go. At the very least, they need to learn how to fight without trying to hurt each other, and he needs to do some hard thinking about what the heck is going on in his brain that his default reaction to a fight is, "Oh crap, I shouldn't have married you." 2.5 years was rushing into marriage? In whose book? I think the ex just thought that she could use him as a booty call or maybe get back together with him, and when she found out that he was in a serious relationship, she said he was rushing it as a way to try and stop it moving forward. Yeah, good point. Does seem strange that the ex would say he's rushing it when presumably she doesn't really know the girl and doesn't really know their relationship that well. But who knows? Any theories? Anyway guys, that's it from me today. Hope you guys enjoyed those stories. Thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Cheers.